And joining us now is Republican Bob Beauprez. Welcome to 7 News.
Nice to be with you.
Thanks for stopping by. When I talked to you on primary night, there was a lot of discussion about Colorado's economy and that it can do better. I've been doing some research over the last few weeks. Despite what's happening nationally, Colorado is thriving. Jobs are being increased. Economic interest here is on the up and up. Why a change in leadership? Has the current governor been that detrimental to business growth and economic development?
Well, parts of Colorado are doing okay, and that's the problem. It's very spotty. Douglas County's strong, Weld County's strong, Denver's doing okay, but negative economic growth in Grand Junction, negative economic growth in Colorado Springs, Pueblo barely keeping its nose above water in economic growth last year. And I asked a professor at the University of Colorado to confirm what I thought the calculation showed me. If we had full employment now, what we historically have had this far after a recovery has started, we are about 206,000 jobs short. And most of those jobs are women, minorities, Hispanics specifically, and young people that are still struggling to find the work. So my criticism is that while we might be okay, and a lot of economic reports say we're, from a total economy standpoint, we're barely middle of the pack on average among the various states for our total economy. Average or good enough's never been Colorado. And you ask people why, and invariably they say it's over-regulation, over-restriction, over-control by government that's holding us back still. I think that's wrong, and I think Colorado's better than that.
I want to talk about some specifics about state government. As you know, there are a long list of government agencies, and some of it in the spotlight recently. I think to the Department of Corrections, the way it's handled some of the recent controversies and tragedy. What is one department that you think needs a complete overhaul that has not been touched thus far by the current administration?
Well, let's stay there for a minute. Because morale is down by their own measures. Fear is up. Corrections officers are very fearful. And prisoner-on-prisoner violence is up. One of your friends in the media did a story not long ago that 93% of sex offenders that get paroled, and that's over 1,000 a year, 93% of them are receiving no therapy whatsoever before they're paroled back into our neighborhoods and back into our streets. And by their own studies' findings, they have more than 50 parole officers short to oversee these released convicts. We've got a 50% recidivism, meaning they recommit and go back in prison rate in Colorado. That's one place where I think we've got to put an enormous amount of attention and do it quickly. Sentencing and parole needs to be addressed, but we've also got to get adequate staffing and adequate support for the staff that's there.
But regardless of the state agency, at the end of the day, if you are elected governor, you really have to depend on the legislature to make things happen. So how will you serve as, let's say, a negotiator between the diverse political interests and personalities in the legislature, whether it be on issues of incarceration or even just simple everyday economics and taxes?
Well, there's a great deal you can do in managing the various agencies and the people that you supervise, and I look forward to doing that as a governor, changing the culture, changing the leadership and the direction. But your point's a good one. Here are my key objectives. I want to audit the state and get the economy moving. If we've got policy that's in place that's anti-job, anti-opportunity, let's get rid of it. Let's fix some of the education problems we've got, and quite specifically the third grade reading scores, which are absolutely abysmal. We're still going backwards in third grade reading proficiency. Almost 30% of our children in Colorado can't read at grade level when they're 8 and 9 years old. And then you touched on public safety. Those are issues that I think cross party lines. And I very much look forward to reaching out to Democrats and Republicans alike and saying, let's do this on behalf of Colorado, because Colorado knows we can be better at all three of those than what we've been.
Very quickly, in the remaining time we have, you are in support of repealing the marijuana legalization legislation, or the vote by the people, so to speak. This was passed not only by Democrats, but by conservatives and independents. By suggesting that, isn't that almost insulting to the voters that I don't accept the will of the people?
Well, let me be very clear. I've said repeatedly that that is our law, and when I take an oath to enforce the law, that will be one of them that I'll enforce. I'll enforce it to the extent that the law allows and the way the people voted and intended for it. But I said, if they decide that they want to amend, somehow adjust the law, even repeal the law, that I'll help lead that effort as well, because as the will of the voters should determine everything in this state, I'll be a governor that leads on behalf of the voters. One of the criticisms of Governor Hickenlooper is that he seems surprised that those gun bills he signed would create, his word, a controversy in the state. Well, they sure did, and the sheriffs tried to tell him that, and he wouldn't even listen to the sheriffs. I'll be a governor who listens to the people and leads based on where they want to go. I know where I want this state to go, and I think I know where the people want to go as well.
In quick 30 seconds, why should someone who is more liberal and independent find comfort in electing you when on many issues there are some key distinct differences? Because
the issues that are really driving Coloradans right now, more opportunity, better access to jobs, better schools, better education outcomes for their children, more choice in where parents can send their children and control that process themselves, not have government do it, safer environments, safer communities. Those are issues that aren't liberal and conservative. They're top of mind, and they should be for our citizens. 1 minute left. We want you to address the voters directly. You know, this is the only state I've ever known as home. Third generation on my dad's side and fifth on my mom's. Is Colorado good? Sure. If we're here, we're good by definition. This is that kind of a state. But we can be great again. Not by government on the people, but by government that trusts in the people. Look, the job of a governor isn't so much to govern the people, it's really to govern the government. I don't want to control your life, but I do want you to have the maximum opportunity to control and make decisions about your own life. I don't want to control your family, your options, your decisions. I want you to be able to do that yourself. That's the kind of governor I'll be, one that believes and trusts in you. If it isn't for your freedom, your liberty, your opportunity, I won't be for it. I'm Bob Beauprez. I'd be honored to have your vote. Bob Beauprez, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, Mark.
All right, take care.